What is going on, guys? This is the Oracle. We are back online for a new Vintage Cube draft. First draft of 2017 for me. And for the first time this, well, not really this year, but for the first time this winter, I should rather say, I opened Sol Ring, which is, just the strongest card in the entire cube, which is nice. I'm just gonna pick that. Would have kind of loved to first pick Street Mine because one of the few deck I haven't played yet in this cube, and that it's I mean, at least this season, and that's pretty sweet, is Street Mine, maybe Crucible of Worlds, and some type of value with lands, maybe Fast Bond and stuff like that. But Sol Ring is just a little bit too powerful to pass. Cryptic Command is pretty good too. Conscript quite solid. Recurring Nightmare is probably the strongest card after Street Mine and Sol Ring. Watery Grave is pretty good fixing, but yeah, I mean, there are actually no card you should first pick over Sol Ring. There are few decks like Mono Red Burn or Storm that might in which a card like Black Lotus might be better. So if you are not pack one, pick one, it's different. But pack one, pick one, I really don't think you should pick anything else than Sol Ring. But yeah, either way, there's a Crucible of Worlds I was talking about. The thing is, Street Mine is extremely unlikely to wheel. So I'm probably just not gonna pick that. I'm gonna try to play the Crucible of Worlds deck another day. Survival is one of the strongest cards here. If we had first pick Recurring Nightmare, that would be an easy pick because the two cards are super strong together. Skull Clamp is also among the best cards here. I think given the Sol Ring, I might just pick Izzet Signet, which is another good piece of acceleration and a pretty good card in general. Yeah, would have been sweet to play the Survival Recurring Nightmare deck or the Crucible of Worlds deck, but yeah, we are heading towards something different right here, I guess. Ooh, there are some sweet options there, though. There's Burning of Athene, which is really sweet with, this type of mana accelerant. There's another Signet, which could be good. There's also Daretti, which I kind of like. I kind of want to pick Daretti, try to build some type of blue-red artifact deck, and hopefully wheel Burning, because I think Burning is pretty likely to wheel. So that pack is pretty strong. I mean, there's Titan, Gearhulk, Tutor, Copter is decent, Trop is good, a Signet, Ritmo. Yeah, I think Burning is kind of likely to wheel, so yeah, I think I might just want to pick the Daretti. Hope to wheel Burning. I don't think Signet is wheeling. I think if you wanna stay more open and maybe make a slightly stronger pick, you can go with Signet. But the Daretti is like real sweet. I kind of want to build a deck around that. And yeah, we'll try to do that, I guess. There's a Deceiver Exarch, so if I pick that and I wield the Zilus Conscript, we open pack one and I get Kiki-Jiki and stuff like that, this could be sweet. But honestly, I think I'm just gonna pick Workshop and try to make this big artifact mana deck work as much as I can. If I were to wheel Hangerback Walker, I'd be pretty happy. Smokestack, I don't think is great in this type of deck, but could be an option. But yeah, I think I'll just pick the Workshop, hope to wheel Walker, and from now on I will just probably pick as much as artifacts as I can. Okay, there's Kiki-Jiki, but I think we kind of choose to go into another direction. But I could have ended up with just a pretty solid Kiki-Jiki deck, blue-red, with a little bit of acceleration to make things work a bit earlier. But we'll play the artifact deck. There's also Yawgmoth Will. All these packs have been really sweet with a bunch of good cards and good options. And this is an 8-4. So we will face, the cards we passed. So, yeah, our opponents should have some pretty solid decks too. But this deck is shaping up very well so far. So I guess there's Blood Crypt in case I end up playing black-red somehow. There's Gideon. There's a chance I end up white-red. There's a pretty good white-red artifact deck in which you can play Armageddon and Ravages of War. which are a little bit similar to Wildfire. I think I'm gonna pick Gideon in case I end up white red. The only thing when you're playing white red with a bunch of mana acceleration is the risk of being flooded, because if you have a bunch of acceleration and not enough card draw spells or ways to, I don't know, filter your draws or get card advantage, you are kind of likely to just flood. So yeah, hopefully you can just build a deck that's working. This is why it's gonna be easier to have a good deck if we are blue-red than white-red, I think, because white-red, it's kind of tough to get some good card advantage tools. We could also be white-red-blue, I guess. Either way, this pack has, I think, nothing for us. Nothing I care about. I'm gonna cut Inquisition because I don't really want to play against that. I don't really want to see my Soul Ring being taken away from my hand. And yeah, there was nothing I would play. I guess the strongest card in last pack was Natural Order, which I could have counter drafted, but this is Vintage Cube. If someone has a sweet green deck and wants to Natural Order, I'm not gonna just counter draft that. I mean, I want to win, and I'm willing to counter draft a little bit, but this is also about having fun. And I don't think any black deck is gonna be really sad about not having Inquisition. And this card is pretty annoying. Here I'm just gonna pick pass. There's just nothing else for me, and again I could be white-red. Jace Wield. I guess there's a chance I want to be blue. The Watery Grave Wield too, which is interesting. I don't love Knight of White Orchid, but I think this is the card we are the most likely gonna play. Burning Wield, which is good news. Smokestack Wield. I really don't see myself using that. I think I'm gonna pick Baneslayer for my side against aggressive deck, mono red, stuff like that. What I was trying to say before with the Inquisition and Natural Order pick is that when I'm playing Vintage Cube, I try to counter draft a little bit less, just because I feel like I mean this is mostly about having fun for me, and I feel like I would be pretty unhappy if other player would counter draft some important cards for a specific archetype that I want to play with. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably just that I take Vintage Cube or Cube in general to be a little bit less competitive and more about fun, which is, I guess, a reason to counter draft a slightly weaker card, but a card that's less important to some deck, or at least less fun. This is kind of weird what I'm saying here, but this was my thinking. Anyways, I think two options there. Dak Vaden is just very good. I could be blue-red again. I do have this Izzet Signet to splash for blue if I want to, and Mox Emerald, which is just very good. I think I'm just gonna go with Mox Emerald. I do like Dak Vaden a decent amount, but Broken Mana is the easiest way to win in this cube, I think. And Mox Emerald is pretty much Broken Mana. If it was an on-color Mox, it would be better, but oh well. Still very good. And since most our mana is really cheap and not really, and pretty much acceleration, it's pretty likely that we don't end up playing Workshop. This might just be a deck that in which Workshop is not going to be good, because I don't think at least right now, we are not trying to cast any, big artifacts. We'll see though. This pick is pretty easy. Balance is among the best card you can use with a bunch of cheap mana acceleration. And it's another very good reason to be white. There's also a chance I end up white-blue. I guess we'll see. Again, the risk if I end up just straight up white-red is that I just flood out a lot of the time and end up with a ton of mana and not a ton of card, or at least not enough cards to do stuff. So we'll see. But the deck is looking super powerful right now, if anything. There's a Goblin Welder here, which fits the theme of the rarity and this kind of stuff pretty well. Right now, I don't really have anything to, abuse this type of effect, like, I don't know, any big artifact basically. And I think Welder is actually extremely likely to wheel, because I picked the Rarity, I picked a bunch of artifacts, so I kind of doubt someone else is trying to do that. And if you are not trying to do that, this card is really bad. So I think instead I'm going to pick Gideon, because Planeswalker are a pretty good way to avoid the issue of not doing anything and being flooded out, flooding out, and they kind of compensate the lack of card advantage, because even though a card like Gideon doesn't give you straight up card advantage, it's just incremental advantage. And yeah, if you have enough Planeswalker, not having enough card draw is less of a problem. I do like O-Ring a lot, but I think even though I don't really like Wheel of Fortune a lot, I think this is the type of deck in which it's going to be really good because of all the chip acceleration and the fact that we are going to be wanting ways to draw cards pretty badly. There's a chance it wheels, but I think I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna try to wheel it. I'm just gonna pick it now because it's a pretty unique effect and it's gonna be quite great. So yeah. I don't mind Mizzium Mortars. It's just a very solid removal. And when you can produce a bunch of mana, it's even better. So why not? Treachery is by far the strongest card here. I love that card, but I mean, we have an Izzet Signet, but blue has not seemed super open. Well, I guess in theory we could cut these red cards and just go maybe blue-white control with a bunch of good artifacts. We could also splash for red. I don't know, Treachery is just busted, so maybe I should pick that. Mortars is fine. Yeah, I think Treachery is just too good to pass, actually. I guess I'll pick Remand, which is just a good card in general, and now I'm pretty likely to actually be blue. And I could maybe, play the Burning or the Rarity if I want to. I feel like this deck would be a bit more funny being straight up white-red, but we are getting past some pretty good blue cards, and blue is actually very good in this type of deck, so yeah, I don't know. Chrome Mox is not very good. Koth is fine, but I don't think we'll end up playing a bunch of mountains, even if we are red-white. I think I'll just pick Remand. Okay, Face Feathers is just good removal. Probably gonna go with that. Yup. Okay, several good options here. So, well, Ajani Vengeance is just a very sweet card, and Planeswalker are very good with Sol Ring and efficient mana acceleration in general, and Signet. And Lighted Tutor is really nice though, because we can fetch Sol Ring, which is, the strongest card in the cube. We can fetch Treachery, which is one of the strongest blue cards in the cube, or, a good old Face Feathers if we need to gain life. Yeah, I think Enlightened Tutor is actually pretty busted in this deck, as yeah, we do have as target, just the best card in the cube, and one of the best enchantment in the cube, if not the best enchantment. I mean, it depends on your deck, but Treachery is just a great target. I don't like Sun Titan a lot, but I guess we might want to play that. Reappeal is often quite good with Moxie's, Sol Ring, and in general it's pretty good when you have a bunch of mana available. I think I'm just gonna pick that. I'm just not a huge fan of Sun Titan at all. Okay, Colonnade is good fixing for us. At this point I don't really think we are on the Welder plan anymore. Geist is fine. I do like Unexpectedly Absent a decent amount too. I don't know if this is really a Geist deck. I mean, Geist is just good in general. Could just pick that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's right. Ooh, Vendor Wield as well as O-Ring. So I guess picking the Wield did not cost us a ton. Now, do I want Vendor or O-Ring in this deck? I think Vendor is just a bit stronger. Also, when you go turn 1 Sol Ring, turn 2 Vendor, bounce your land, it's just such a great tempo play. I guess there's a chance I splash for this if I get good enough fixing, which is it's not looking like it's gonna be the case, but who knows. Okay. So I guess we are just white red. I mean blue white control with some really good mana acceleration, and we could easily splash for red, kind of. Okay. Hopefully Supreme Verdict is gonna wheel because I think this is gonna be good in my deck, but I think I wanna either take Archmage or Elspeth. I don't actually know which one is better. I think Archmage is better. But with a ton of good acceleration, Elspeth might also be very good. It's close. Archmage is pretty sick though. Archmage is never wheeling. Elspeth might wheel. It's not very likely, but she could wheel. At least in my opinion, it's more likely to wheel than Glenn. Close call. Yeah, I think we are kind of good on win condition. We have 2 Gideon, Treachery. I mean, guys, we could use more, but I think Glenn is actually a bit more useful and maybe a bit more stronger than Elspeth. It's kind of close though. Okay. A lot of good things there. Flooded Strand would be nice. Sheldock Isle is always pretty good. Dimir Signet is fine. Mystic is, well, since it's last pack, we are not that likely to get good equipment, so I'm not sure how good it would be, and we don't have a lot of creatures, so it might not be the best option. But either way, I think I'm just going to pick Coalition Relic. It just fits the curve very well. It plays very well with Sol Ring. It's just very strong in general. Yeah, I just like that more than anything else. Okay, Worn Power Stone, why not? Yeah, it's just pretty good. We do have a ton of mana. We don't have a ton of things to do with it. I guess all these artifacts are really good with balance, though. This deck could really use Sphinx Revelation. I don't like Sphinx Revelation a lot, but when you have a ton of mana, it's just very good. But I wonder if I should actually not pick Ojutai here. Ojutai is just very good, and our mana acceleration is just very good. And I think Ojutai is just better. It's also a way to get card advantage, so I think this is actually better than the other option. Okay, Tamiyo, Mentor, Swords, and I guess Treasure Cruise, which I think is weaker, but could be an option. Well, Mentor is really good in this deck. And yeah, Mentor is really looking nice. Like, we have 4 spells that don't trigger it. Yeah. Swords is good, but we already have a pass. No, I think I'm gonna go with Mentor. Mentor is just too good. Batterskull could have been cool if we had gotten the Stoneforge Mystic, but I don't think the Mystic is willing. And either way, I think I actually like Mystic Confluence more than Batterskull, even if I had picked the Mystic. I mean the Stoneforge Mystic. This is also a Mystic card. It's just very good card draw spell. That card is just great, and since we have a lot of ways to burst mana, not a ton of card draw, it's even better than it could be. I actually think Ravages of War is pretty good in this deck, as weird as it may seem. I mean, it probably doesn't seem weird, because we do have a bunch of artifact acceleration, but Ravages, not the card that's usually good in control. But when you have enough artifact acceleration, a couple Planeswalker, it's pretty sweet. Also, Ravages is a pretty sick card to use with Treachery. Like, you can just kill the big threat, Ravages, and then it's pretty much game over. So, should play pretty well in this deck. Ooh, Hallowed Fontaine. Do like that. Wrath of God is kinda interesting, but I think this deck can... I don't think this deck really needs Wrath of God, and actually Balance is a Wrath of God effect, kind of. Yeah, I think Fixing is just better. And we might wield the what's the name of that card? Supreme Verdict anyways. Tolarian Academy is fine. We have 5 cheap artifact though. I mean, 2 really cheap artifact, 2 Signet, and a Relic. I don't think it's gonna shine in this deck, and I think Elspeth is actually quite amazing. And again, Planeswalker works like really well with Sol Ring and cheap artifact, Signet, and you know what I'm talking about. Ooh, both Elspeth and Supreme Verdict Wield. I think the Wrath effect might be more important. Elspeth was looking good, but in the meantime we got, another Elspeth, Mentor, or Jutai. I really don't think we need more win condition, but having another Wrath effect in the deck could be nice. That being said, no, I don't think we need another Wrath effect, and I want to make sure that when I have my mana, I'm doing something with it, something strong and powerful, so I think I'm actually gonna pick Elspeth. And again, I don't feel, bad about not having a Wrath, because I do have Balance, which kind of does the same thing. I think Pentad Prism is gonna be pretty good in this deck. Yeah, it's just very good when you have a bunch of strong Planeswalkers. Moat is a cool option for the sides, and could be used in matchup where I would want a Wrath of God, so that's nice. Don't really want to play against the Sculler, I guess. Don't care about anything else. Shadow Mage looks... Well, Slime is pretty good against my deck, pretty annoying to face. Voice is always decent. And I think here we have a little bit too many cards, I guess. So... yeah, Mox is basically a land. Yeah, Sol Ring is almost a land. I think we can afford to play 15 land, actually. And this might be greedy. We don't have a ton of card draw, though, so if I can avoid to just flood out, it'd be good. And there's nothing I want to cut, so might just go with 15 lands, Mox Emerald, Sol Ring, and Prism, a bunch of Signet, and I don't think this is super greedy. Tutor can fetch up a land basically, or even more mana. Yeah, I think we can afford to play 16 lands. I mean 15 lands, which is gonna be 15 with Mox Emerald, and even 17, because Sol Ring, unless you really have no mana, is pretty much like a land. I mean, even better than land. So we have 2 pieces of fixing, which is not a ton, but it's not like bad either. One Signet is blue, the other is white, so it's pretty much the same thing. Prism is Prism, and Relic. Yeah, we have 2 blue-white land Relic. I don't think we should have too many mana issues, despite having a bunch of double white and double blue. So I have more double blue, but more white cards in general. Probably want slightly more white, but probably just 7/6. That sounds right. Alright, that's the deck. I think this is just what a control deck should look like in Vintage Cube. In Legacy Cube, you can just have a more straightforward control deck with less mana acceleration and more counterspell, but in Vintage Cube, having all that mana acceleration is really good. The only thing this deck is missing, I feel like, is a really good card draw spell and a couple good counter spells. Like Force of Will would be amazing, but I don't have a ton of interaction early on. Basically, my game plan is hopefully to put something really threatening quite early, and I have a couple spells to deal with stuff on board, but I don't have any counter spell except for Remand, so I'm not gonna beat something like, I don't know, turn 1 Reanimated, Grizzled Brand, or yeah. There's a couple things that could be really tough for this deck to beat. But we do have a fair amount of power. And yeah, it's just basically a bunch of mana and a bunch of very powerful cards, so hopefully it will work out. So yeah, that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the draft. If it's the case, feel free to drop a like. And yeah, you can also subscribe to the channel, obviously, if you enjoy these. And yep, I guess that's it. So thank you for watching, and see you for round 1.